Welcome to Monster Men.
I'm louder than you. By the way, this is not the best gift to get your child for Christmas if you want peace in the house.
Will the owner of a blue Mazda license plate 369?
You know, I've said we have this is a multifamily house, and there's a person who lives behind us. I tell my kids, because where they're sleeping it shares a wall with the guy behind us. I tell my kids, get up at midnight and just do this.
B2. B2. Hold on, we have a bingo. Hold your cards. Hold your card. Phyllis? Phyllis? No bingo? 069.
And just do that for 2 hours.
That's horror.
That is true horror. I love loud things. What are we going to talk about today, Jack?
Oh, it was great ARG. That goes in the ARG Hall of Fame.
This episode is brought to you by Rolling Rock Beer. Crisp and clean with no caffeine.
And then 33 for whatever the hell reason.
He doesn't like Rolling Rock, but I don't like PBR.
Reach his own. Okay, so we're going to do a book review episode because we haven't done one in a while. There's a lot of good books to read. And not just your books, but we'll talk about a couple of your books because you're getting some notoriety.
Notoriety.
But I wanted to go first.
Because Jack has the greatest damn book I've ever seen.
Yes, I have the greatest book ever. So in October, Horror-tober, I really focused on Hammer movies. I watched The House of Drip Blood. I watched Twins of Evil. A bunch of the
Count Yorga, 1 and 2?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the Christopher Lee Dracula movies like AD 1972, which is hilarious.
Did you watch The Vampire Lovers?
I had watched that before Horror-tober, but this past year, yes. So I've been
Satanic Rites of Dracula? I think just throw titles out.
I watched a bunch of it. I lose track of which Christopher Lee ones I've watched and which ones I haven't. But I got a great one DVD with 4 movies on it or something. Mm-hmm. Christopher Lee, and it's so funny when you were little, those movies scared you to death, and now you're like,
yeah.
But there's some great stuff in them. One thing I noticed from the Hammer movies that I've said on this program many a time is how beautiful the Hammer women were.
Oh my God.
And
gorgeous.
I had been eyeing this book for a long time that I heard about, and I broke down after watching, I think it was Dracula AD 72. I was just like, okay. Holy mother of God.
I must have this. It's the greatest cover.
This is a book called Hammer Glamour.
Note the cleavage.
What jumps out at you about this?
Sultry eyes.
This book highlights all the women.
Every woman that's been in the Hammer.
From the Hammer movies. With pictures and a little story about them. What movies they were in. There might be a little nudity.
There's a little nudity.
Here's the Twins of Evil. And it's funny because as a kid, you watch a lot of these edited for TV. And then when you watch them uncut, because we never get to see these uncut.
I never thought there were boobies and stuff like that.
Well, I would see them in books. I have this horror book from when I was a kid, and there's a picture of a woman without a shirt, like a vampire getting staked.
Staked, right.
Then I'm like, I never saw that in the movie.
You knew.
Then when you see the uncut versions of it, you're like, oh, there was boobies all over the place.
Go Britannia!
As I leave the booby page open while
I know, right? Well, dude, what did we learn from this? Raquel Welch was a Hammer girl.
Yes, who knew that?
My all-time favorite. Raquel, if you're watching this show, I know that we're about 30 years difference in age, but if you're available, I think my wife said I can leave.
Listen, I met Marianne from Gilligan's Island at Chiller Theater.
Yep.
And like Raquel Welch, she could be 1,000 years old and
she's still really pretty.
Gorgeous. Ingrid Pitt is one of the women from the Hammer movies, like The Vampire Lovers and House of Drip Blood. That
to me, she is Hammer.
She really is.
She's the ultimate.
She was just a ridiculously beautiful woman. and she's in like a million of these movies.
And recently passed away. Her and Carolyn Monroe, who were two of my favorites from the Hammer movies.
I don't have them bookmarked, so I can't jump it. They're just... So this is a really fun book.
How much was this book, by the way? What would you pay for it? What did set you back?
This was somewhere in the $20, $25
Are you serious? That's all?
Yeah.
So that's less than like a James Patterson book that he had some guy chained to a radiator write over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah. No, as a longtime horror fan and revisiting a lot of these movies, this was a great thing to add to the library.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And then when you think about some of the women now who are like Sarah Paxson is in a lot of horror movies
right
now. She's like carrying on the mantle. Jamie Lee Curtis,
Linnea Quigley. I mean, there's so many horror scream queens, but Hammer just, I don't know.
Some of these coffee table books. You remember that monster one I brought over?
Yeah, love that.
So I have that. So I'm kind of building this little library of the coffee table sized books that are just fun reads. You don't sit it and read it in one sitting. But like when I brought this over, you were like glued to it.
Look, Marie Devereaux, as Bela Lugosi would say in Ed Wood, look at the fucking jugs on her. Oh my lordy. I mean, great stuff in here. I'm actually, you know what? I have an Amazon gift card that I got for Christmas, and guess where it's going?
That's good, because I'm not lending this to you.
I didn't think you would.
You get to look at it as much until I go home.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome book. I actually am going to order that.
So,
good book to start things off with here.
There's a couple of other Hammer books that are more just about the movies in general that I looked at. I kind of bookmarked on my wish list and stuff.
Right.
But I know I already have books like that, and they're kind of fun, but whatever. This was such a unique...
Well, it's beautifully done, too.
Stephanie Powers is in this.
And naked. Heart-to-heart fan. She's naked in this book. But who knew? But I mean, this is really put together.
This is the greatest freaking book cover in the history of books.
Exactly.
So
that's awesome. Good job, Jack.
All right.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
I'm going to do a little self-promotion. My book, my weird Western horror book, Hellhole, was named the best horror novel of the year by Horror Novel Reviews, which, I mean, those guys do... I'm going to say... Everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, he says they do a great job because they voted his book #1.
No, that's the Not Messing Around website. Like, that place is... That's like the go-to place.
Yeah, I mean... And their choice between 1 and 2 is me and Joe Lansdale. Joe Lansdale is one of the reasons why I write horror and wrote a weird Western. So for him to be #2 and me to be #1 was just, I mean, that just blew my mind. Made my day. So if you like weird Westerns where anything goes, and it's monsters and ghosts and everything else you can put in there.
That's a fun book.
It's nutty. It's nutty. So that was voted best horror novel of 2014.
You should check out that website too, because we'll give you. We're a great source for books for people, and
we read,
and they are more consistent than us. We'll do shows every so often about books.
Yeah,
I always share their stuff on our website.
Every day they have a book review, and sometimes 2 to 4 book reviews a day. So they've got a staff of people that are reading the books who love horror, and love talking horror, and they're honest. Every book that comes out there isn't a 5-star review. I mean, they're pretty honest with the book. So I think, horrornovelreviews.com, go to them. Should we hit, since we're just out of Christmas?
We had a beer with this man.
We did, at Chiller Theater in New Jersey. Matt Manochio.
Nice guy.
Super nice guy.
Like you, something is bubbling underneath the surface.
He looks way more normal than I do, though. He wrote a book about Krampus. Y'all know who Krampus is? I didn't know, really. Surprisingly, Krampus flew under my radar for years.
I knew of Krampus for a long time. There's a Supernatural episode about Krampus.
See, I don't watch Supernatural, that's why.
A Grimm episode about Krampus.
I don't watch Grimm. That's why.
There's actually just this year a movie came out about Krampus too. I forget what it was called.
Really?
Yeah.
I've got the Krampus?
Yeah.
Leave me alone, I got Krampus.
But
The Dark Servant by Matt Manochio, who we are going to have on an episode of Monsta Men, just us interviewing Matt, because he is one of the latest additions to the Sam Hain Club.
Yeah, we wanted to do this for Christmas, but we kind of took December off.
December got away from us. We'll be honest. Good, really, what a great debut. A monster book about a cryptid that I didn't know about, which is, I mean, he didn't make Krampus up, so Krampus is real, as far as cryptids go.
And you don't have to wait for Christmas to read this.
You can read that anytime. It's a great monster book. So much, I'd say so much fun. Other people might be
Santa's not the only one coming to town.
He's got great blurbs from great authors. I mean, a lot of people have put their eyes on this and love the book. And it's been doing exceedingly well. And I think it's on the Bram Stoker list of books to read in consideration for the awards. So,
it's a very cool cover. Not quite this, but
not as sexy,
but very cool. So check that out.
But if horned monsters are your thing, it's sexy. Now here's a book I just started reading this morning by David Bernstein. It's Toxic Behemoth, which is a kaiju thriller. You know what kaiju is?
Pacific Rim.
Classic, exactly. Godzilla, Pacific Rim. We're talking beasts from the deep. Big, toxic, you know, nasty things.
You find books, man.
Well, David Bernstein, he's written a bunch of books for Sam Hain, and this book is with, I can't remember off the top of my head. This book is with, oh good lord, it doesn't say. It's a different press, Severed Press, thank you. Severed Press does a lot of kaiju books. Kaiju porn, maybe that's next. But I noticed that in the back they were advertising books with Eric S. Brown, who he wrote Bigfoot Wars.
Oh.
It was a movie with C. Thomas Howell. And Eric was kind enough to...
they made a Bigfoot Wars movie with C. Thomas Howell?
Yeah,
where the hell have I been?
They did. It's on demand. We can watch it after this.
All right.
Eric does Bigfoot books, and he did a blurb for Swamp Monster Massacre for me, so I'm always in his debt. But this particular book is about a mobster. There's a lot of taboo stuff that he does in this book. I won't give it away. I won't do any spoiler alerts. There's a lot of stuff that, as writers, you always sit back and go, should I do this? But David's got the chops to go through with stuff that maybe other writers might shy away from. But this is basically a mobster who gets whacked and dropped into the Atlantic and becomes this ginormous beast that I'm sure is going to go back to exact revenge on the mob boss that had him knocked off.
That's a great concept.
This is so much fun, man. It's just
that is a tremendous concept.
Dude, it's just fun. It's like a great Godzilla movie on a rainy Saturday.
Yeah.
So, blast. Definitely check that out. Another one that I read, we don't have the book here in front of us because it's only an ebook. It's Exorcist Road by our man Jonathan Janz. Or as I like to call him, JJ. How you doing, JJ? It's a possession book, naturally, that also has a serial killer in it and everything. Super well done.
There's a little kid possessed, and he has knowledge of these murders done by this serial killer. That, like, how the hell would he know that? Could this little kid be the killer, or what is going on? So, and this is this possession has a lot more teeth than
yeah,
like some of the other possessions you've seen. Like this demon is not to be trifled with.
No, not at all.
Or taken lightly. And the conflicts between the people is a big part of this book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because there's a mystery in it.
And they're fighting each other because, you know.
Because they're wondering, is there a killer in our midst? As there's a terrible possession going on.
And the clergymen involved are flawed.
Yes. As are any human beings.
Yeah, so it's good. This guy's got a good chops.
Yeah,
Janz has chops.
Jonathan Janz knows what he's doing. Also, he has a book that's out that just came out in January, The Nightmare Girl.
Yeah, I haven't read that yet.
I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, but I know it's good. I've never read anything by JJ that isn't phenomenal. And in fact, they're doing ads just for that book in all the different trade mags. So.
Oh, cool! If you see it, snap a picture and send it to us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Another book I want to talk about is a guy who's been on our show, Jason Brant.
Oh.
Let me tell you, this dude loves horror the way we love horror, and literally said if either of us die, he could easily just fill in for the other, and the show would not miss a beat.
If you watch, we did 2 episodes with him so far, and we'll have him back on this year. We did one about stupid horror movies. That's one of the funniest things we've done.
Exactly. He knows his stuff, and he's seen a lot of dumb horror, just like we have.
But he is a full-time horror writer.
He is. And he has... I just started reading his book, The Hunger series. And it's this post-apocalyptic series of books. And the world is overrun. They're kind of like a cross between vampires and zombies. They call them vampires, but not vampires in the sense that you think of undead vampires.
Zombies.
Zombies. There you go. It is so damn good. I read... The first book is Devoured. Devoured the book. Devoured the book, finished it, and went right back to my Kindle and ordered the second one and the third one. And I'm going to be really upset when I'm done.
Okay, that's cool. I just finished Exorcist Road, and so that's next.
I'm telling you, if you want to read a horror series that has everything a horror fan needs, that's the series to go to right now. They're all in ebooks. The first one is free, and then the second and third one are really cheap. So you're not going to spend a lot of money, but you should because it's way better.
He's got a whole bunch of book stuff. So if you go to jasonbrant.com, you can see all the stuff. And he's got a great sense of humor. His blog's really funny.
Yeah. He's someone that you have to check out. And anybody who is thinking that they want to be a horror writer and kind of go outside the mainstream publishing system and self-publish and succeed, look at his blog, look at the way he did it, read his books. If you read his books and then read yours and it's not up to that standard, try again. I'm telling you, he knows what he's doing.
That's high praise.
Last book here we want to talk about is by my man Russell James. He is what I call him the Magic Man because he writes about magic all the time, which is a subject I would like to write about, but I don't think I have the chops to do. It's just not my wheelhouse. I stopped at Doug Henning. Magic of Illusion. But he's got a new book out called Dreamwalker, which is this cool book about a guy that actually lives. He can live between 2 worlds, the real world and the dream world, and there's danger in both. I got an early read on it, which was awesome, and I provided a blurb that's on the book for it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a really good book. He strikes again.
Yeah, magic has to be handled right, or it's stupid.
Exactly. No, time travel to me and magic are 2 of the hardest things to write because if you don't have the logic set straight or you don't have an obvious passion for it, just stupid.
That's why I love Hot Tub Time Machine, because a time machine is a fictional thing. So you can build something with all these switches and stuff and try and explain it.
Right.
Or you could just be like, the hot tub sends us back in time because it's magic.
Such a good movie. I should write something with a hot tub. I'll be back. No, but definitely check out Russell James. He's got a blog tour going on as well through February, I believe. So go to his website and check out that book. It's excellent. Good reads to start off the year with.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Oh, wait. Should we do one more?
Oh, yeah. Let's go with the heavy stuff.
Jack will put this in the comic book recommendation.
Comic book review, or whatever the hell we call it.
Whatever we call it. It's been so long we don't remember. Afterlife with Archie. It's a series of Archie books where Jughead gets bitten by his dead dog and infected and actually will start to infect the rest of Riverdale High.
Hey, Arch.
I mean, the art is really cool.
Let me see this.
Dude, check this out. It's funny, there's a lot of shout-outs to classic horror, because at one point you see somebody go, well, I guess sometimes dead is better.
Nice.
So there's shouts out to Pet Sematary, Night of the Living
Dead.
Jughead. Zombie Jughead. It is really good. The best thing about these right now, you get the Archie story, the zombie Archie story.
Is that freaking Veronica?
That's Veronica dressed like
Vampirella.
Vampirella.
Betty?
Yeah, that's Betty.
This is not drawn like a usual...
No, this has nothing...
They look like real people.
Right. Yeah, they took the whole comic aspect and they...
Let me tell you something. I would love for Jughead to be a zombie, so when I shoot his head, I could shoot that stupid
crown. And he does have the crown on it in this.
He's wearing it in bed.
It also has... the first issue introduces a new Sabrina thing where Sabrina was... her mother was supposed to give up the kid to a coven of witches and stuff. It's like a dark Sabrina.
Is that this?
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
And then at the end, they reprint some old classic horror comics from the 60s. Just phenomenal. I couldn't... Look, my wife loves Archie. I've read Archie here and there. You know, it is what it is.
My friend used to work for Archie Comics. I went to the premiere of Josie and the Pussycats in Rye.
In Rye? Really? Oh, with Rosario Dawson.
None of the stars were there.
Ah.
That was Tara Reid when she was hot.
Archie Comics, they're in Mamaroneck, New York. Not far from where we are right now. But
I used to get the Archie Comics newsletter.
You did?
Yeah, because Ellen worked there.
That's wild. I'm telling you, it's really good. It's a
So I'll tell you, after this show, you're going to be reading this, and I'm going to be reading this.
Exactly. But there's so much good stuff right now. So check out our Afterlife with Archie.
All right, so wait. Betty's the blonde?
Betty's the nurse. And
Veronica.
she's supposed to be...
I've always been a
Vampirella.
Betty man, but Veronica dressed like Vampirella.
See, I've always been a Veronica man, so step back. Go to your nurse.
She's kind of like Nurse 3D.
Check another episode out about that one.
This is great. Hey, check this out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Afterlife with Archie.
Afterlife with Archie. And with that, we will see you next time on
Monster Men.
Grr, arg.